A lot of noise for this upcoming disappointment. Well, let's go ahead. The Magnum thing, I'm just going to go off script. Like, the Magnum thing was funny. I was actually with a girl not too long ago, and things were getting hot and heated, and I was like, oh shit, I don't have a condom. And she's like, oh, I have one. And then she got a Magnum, and I was like, huh. Like, it just raises so many questions. Like, was the last dude a jackhammer? Do you keep them because you have high expectations? Like, I don't know. And it put a lot of pressure on, much like the cheering when I was slow walking up. This is, I appreciate the applause. This is all very new to me. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of comic I'm gonna be. If I'm gonna like tell true stories, make up shit, just tell a bunch of dick fart and masturbation jokes. Like so I figure while I'm trying to work through it, I'll just do all of that shit and see how it goes. So I masturbate a lot. More than most people with a pulse should probably masturbate. I also have to travel a lot for work, which means that my dick gets to see a lot of hotel rooms. I enjoy that, actually. I feel like it's like taking my dick on a world tour. He's more cultured because of it. Well-rounded. The whole thing's not going to be my dick, I promise. I really do travel a lot for work, and I love going to the airport. It's the most hilarious thing ever because once you're inside the airport, it's like a completely different socioeconomic thing, right? Like, you could have a coach ticket for Delta, and if you have $1 million in the bank, like, they don't care. Like, they just know if you don't have Delta miles, whatever. So it's like, oh, hey, do you have status with Delta? No? Well, fuck you in the face, sir. We're going to go ahead and put you in boarding group 87, and if you could wait over there, that'd be great. And I love, like, the gates as well. You ever, like, get to your gate early while you're waiting for your flight? What a fucking wasteland of misery that thing is. I saw people like competing in Hunger Games for a power outlet to plug in their fucking cell phone. There's some dude who's laying across like 5 different chairs. He's pissed because he's been delayed 3 times. He feels like he deserves it. There's a pregnant lady standing. He's like, fuck you, I'm not getting to Wisconsin, so nobody. I find that shit amazing. And then probably the biggest dicks of them all are like the business travelers who come in with like the little fucking wheelie things for their laptop. Like, you couldn't carry that fucking laptop, and they have the perfectly sized carry-on luggage to fit into the overhead bin. And like, I used to look at those guys and be like, what fucking douchebags. And then I had to travel a lot for work, and I was like, that's kind of the fucking way to go. I'm the biggest asshole now. Like, I don't even let the lady get it all the way out of her mouth. She's like, now boarding group. I'm like, excuse me, nigga, that's me. I'm boarding group number 1. I can't run out of overhead space, nigga. Excuse me. I need to get on here. I know a lot of people are looking at me like, he said nigga, is it an all-black airline? Nah, I just say, I thought Delta catered to everybody. They do. I just say the word nigga. It's kind of my thing. I don't know why I do it. And since I'm gonna use the N-word a lot, I figured we might as well go over the rules real quick. They've been around since like 1982. Everybody knows the rules, right? Like, supposedly, like, white people can't say it, black people can say it to fucking anybody. I say that. And then, like, I guess white people can say it, like, if they get a pass from a black friend, I think, is that still in effect, right? I don't, but a word to the wise, white people, your black friend has to be there. You just can't call me a nigga and your friend's an Cynthia. It's not an honor system type of thing. I swear to God, Jamal said I could say it. He's my nigga too. I swear. I got into a weird situation with that rule. I have a friend named Jamal. He's black, but you knew that. And he had this neighbor. You ever have a neighbor that just decides you're gonna be friends no matter how you feel about it or not? This is happening. Get on board. Well, that's what happened to Jamal. He had this white neighbor named Steve who'd come over all the time. I'd go over and see my boy Jamal, and of course I eventually run into Steve. And so Jamal's like, hey, it's JR, Steve, JR. I'm like, hey Steve, how's it going? He's like, what's up, my nigga? How you living? And I'm like, according to Section C, Rule 3.5, you must have gotten permission from Jamal. Jamal, did you give this dude permission? I don't say that out loud because Steve's the biggest white man I've ever seen in my entire life. He's fucking jacked. So I don't say this out loud to Jamal, but my face just conveys this message. So Jamal's face says back to me, hell no, I didn't give permission. Like a fucking aggressive neighbor. So my face says back to Jamal, I'm like, well, get his ass in line. And Jamal's face is like, you see how big he is? He's like, you get him in line. I was like, I'm not telling that nigga to get fuck that. So I had to just stop hanging out with Jamal. Like my mom was disappointed. She was like, Jamal was so nice. How can you not have anyone on? I was like, he fell in with the wrong group of white boys. That's too dangerous for me. And speaking of race, I actually had like a moment a month ago. This is really serious. I feel deeply about this because I felt like I was a traitor to my race. That's a terrible feeling. I felt like I betrayed black people. I'll tell you what happened. I was on the subway in New York a few weeks ago, and we stop, and some kids get on the train, and you can tell they're going to do like a little performance or something, and then ask for money, one of those type of deals, right? So they get on the train, and they're facing each other, right? They're opposite, and they start reciting a poem, and I'm like, all right, that's different. And they're doing this poem, they're really like getting into it, like one guy says a line, the other guy finishes a sentence. Sometimes they say the same sentence together in unison for effect. But here's the problem, if you've been on a train in New York, once that thing starts going, it gets really loud. And so you couldn't hear what the fuck they were saying. They were like screaming at each other, right? So as a New York commuter, all that fucking noise, and now these two kids are basically screaming at me. Like, what makes you think I'm gonna give you money? So of course the train ends and nobody gives them money. And at the next stop, I come over to these young black kids and I'm just like, have you thought about dancing? Because dancing is a visual medium. Like, the noise won't be such a problem if you dance. I don't know. That's my time. I'm Jared. I'm an Uncle Tom, apparently.